Wow, welcome back to Greenlight Cinema. Here we are, Fargo Season 4, Episode 8, and it's here, and I watched it, and it was pretty good. It feels like we're kind of like going back into Season 2 a little bit. We're a little back and forth, but also we're kind of resurfacing on some characters that I don't even feel like we grasped the surface on quite as good. But nevertheless, here we are with a new Fargo episode review. So the very first part of the episode, it got a little confusing for me, kind of, because it was kind of cut back and forth. In the beginning, we see like Josto talking to his fiance, and it's kind of like this marriage has been in the works, I guess. And it's like, we can get all this going, and these politics we want to do, which I wonder if we're going to discover, like, what's all that going on about. But, so, yeah, Josto, at the same time, we're seeing him, like, with Nurse Mayflower, and they're kind of doing their thing, and he mentions, like, a wedding tour. It doesn't seem like it at first phases her, because he's like, hey, I gotta go to the bathroom real quick. And while he's in the bathroom, she makes, like, a phone call and checks on Dr. Harvard, the doctor she poisoned in the last episode. And he's making a speedy recovery, as it turns out. And not only that, he's been transferred, and she's calling it as his sister. And, like, as Josto gets out of the bathroom, it seems like it dawns on her then that she's, like, upset and, like, kind of caught up in the, like, crap. Really interesting, too. Like, Josto seems like he's actually gonna, like, tell us, the audience, like, a little bit of, like, what all happened to him as a kid. He was like, you remember I got traded? She's like, no, I've never heard of this. And she's, like, totally uninterested because, her whole plan of, like, killing Dr. Harvard or doing whatever she had planned with him has totally been derailed. And we're about to hear a pretty interesting story, possibly, from Josto that gets cut off by Nurse Mayflower, and she's just kind of like, out, and you know what, I'm tired of you, you're getting married or whatever. I'm like, whatever, just kind of flipping out on him. And he was like, whoa, like, this is love, right? Like, what we're feeling, what we're doing, this is love. And she's like, just out of here. She's like, my plan's been derailed, so I'm not thinking about love or romance. But who can blame her, right? I don't know. So then cut to, and he gets out, and we see him to the Italian's place, and he sees Josto unchained. And Josto is like just kind of laughing and chilling. They get up, and it's like, oh my gosh, like, what's gonna happen? Like, Ebel's kind of in the corner, like, making I guess the brothers needed to make peace. And, like, so what happens is like, Josto beats up, Gaetano beats up Josto pretty good, and, like, knocks him into a table, and, like, it was like, good day almighty. And then picks him up and gives him a big old hug and is like, I'm so proud of you. And then he, like, gets on his knees and is like, I'm devoted to being your loyal brother. I'm like, I'm not, he didn't say this verbatim, but he's like, I'm ride or die, like, we are together through the end. And it's like, and then Josto's like, alright, but if you ever double cross it, or if you ever, screw over this family or anything like that, you're killed or out. And, Gaetano's, like, understood to him. It seems like they have, like, I was a little bit on the fence with this. I was like, is this just some type of plot or plan? But Gaetano was like, well, the way he's seen it was that Loy was like, oh, you're going to kill your brother since your brother wants you dead. But he's like, you're going to be the strategist, and I'm going to just be the muscle. Everything looks all well and good with the Italians right now, but Ebel still has that uneasy look, like, I don't know where all this is going to go. But it's interesting, though, because after that, cut to, like, we see, apparently, like, Opal and the other guy was following and watching this, and he reported back to Lloyd. Comes over to Lloyd's house, and he's like, "Well, it looks like the brothers are tighter than ever now." I was waiting for this. He said Fargo, and what he means by that, I remember him saying to Dr. Sender, he was like, "And tell Mort Kellerman we need his devotions." So I knew he was going to come back up. But I'm giving out spoilers already. But yeah, so all right, cut to. So cut to, now we see Lloyd's wife at the door of the Smutney woman. I can't think of her name right off, and she's, I guess, there to pick up Lemuel. I hope I'm saying his name right. The oldest of the Cannons, and he's actually seeing the Smutney girl. He's upstairs with her, hanging out with her, but like before all this, they're having like a sit down, the two women, the two moms, the Cannon mom and the Smutney mom, trying to figure out, like, she's like, this, has been, we've had this funeral home for like years, or I forgot what all she was saying, but also she was kind of like, I don't want my daughter to get like mixed up in the mob, so, maybe we can help out each other in some type of way. I don't feel like we got, I don't know, that scene was a little hard for me to kind of understand what all was going on, and I don't feel like they have too much chemistry. Lloyd's oldest and the Smutney girl, like, I feel like they kind of have something going on, but it's like, maybe not too much. But then he has to go downstairs and leave or whatever, and his mom has a look on his face. Oh, I remember that Smutney mom, she asked the Cannon mom, does he know about Sacho yet? And she said no, but I believe that he was probably told in this episode, just about like the look on her face, his mom's face, and look on the oldest Cannon boy's face. And we see Miss Mayflower, the nurse, and she's trying to, check on Dr. Harvard. She's concerned. But no, she hears, I believe, at the hospital that he's actually doing really well and, been transferred. I think I mentioned that earlier. But she just kind of, I guess, this happens so many times. It's like, all right, gotta leave this city. And she starts, like, getting her stuff together. Like, packing like Otis was in the last episode. And it's like, all right, like, where all is this going to go? And I figured this was going to happen. So she's going back and forth to her pantry. And she notices, like, a note, I believe, or some handwriting that Ethelreda, that's her name, Smutney, Ethelreda had left. And she's comparing the note from Dr. Harvard. And she can tell, like, oh my gosh, I know who wrote this note now. Which I kind of thought she had a good general idea of who wrote the note. But, like, maybe not. So she just has this really like mean look in her eye. It looks pretty crazy. We get like, very tight close-ups, cinematography close-ups of like her looking through the window down at Ethelreda, because like Ethelreda's like kind of like walking out of her house. Just so happened at the exact same time as she's reading the note and packing. Cut to then we see Lloyd and Opal, and he tells Opal, he's like, hey, I'm just going to go inside real quick, splash more on my face, get ready. And I guess they're going probably to the Smutney's funeral home. I don't know. He was all dressed in black. But before he gets down the stairs, before we even see that, we have old Deffy sitting there waiting. And Opal's like, man, you better get out of here. This is the wrong part of town for you, And Deffy's just not backing down. He is like, look, I'm coming in there, I got a badge, He says a few things to Opal, and pretty much Opal, he's just not going to argue with him. And Lloyd doesn't even seem to be caught off guard by him. It was pretty interesting. I like that. He's like, when we make you a drink, and then that guy's like, no, we don't drink, we abstain from that. But it was really interesting, this whole conversation, because he's telling Lloyd, like, a lot of stuff, and it's eating away at Lloyd a little bit. But it was pretty interesting. Like, they both kept each other's cool for a while, as much as they could, until he starts saying some really, like, he's like, and you know how I know all this? You know what else I know? And it's like, oh gosh. He's like, I know that, he's like, how wrong would it be for, someone to trade their own son for monetary value gain? And, like, it was like eating away at Lloyd, and we see, like, them pull guns on each other. And it's like, oh gosh, like, except Loy, you know, Opal and him pull guns. And Opal's not fast enough. Looks like he could have shot and killed Opal. And it's like, so, you know, we get this intense scene. But then, get a little bit of season 2 back. Yeah, Loy says, I like you. And is it like verbatim, quote for quote, exactly what Mike Milligan says.
I like you. Met another fellow from Minnesota yesterday. Big guy, sheriff, I think. I liked him too.
We're very friendly people.
No, that's not it. Pretty unfriendly, actually. But it's the way you're unfriendly. How you're so polite about it. Like you're doing me a favor.
But that line was echoed and repeated exactly like Mike Milligan said it, and then Lloyd Cannon said it. So to me now, it's like, this has to be for sure, when we do see Rabbi, we do see Sancho, that's Mike Milligan. I have a feeling, I could be wrong, like I said, and if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong, hey. But, so yeah, we had that really crazy interesting scene. Cut to, then we see Deafy at the police station, gathering up a bunch of cops, and like kind of saying like a speech and giving out like some scripture and praying. And we see Otis on the phone, and he says he's on the phone with Lloyd, and he's like, I'm ready to, you know, be a cop and really, you know, do this. And we get like a real story from Otis. It was pretty like interesting and like touched me a little bit. I was like, wow, you know, he's like, all my life, he's like, you think, you know, he's like, I want to be in charge. He's like, you know, that just helps the disease a little bit. He's like, you don't think you know, I've been called twitchy and touched, and he went, you know, he's like from school to just being in the army and everything. It's like, my gosh, this poor guy. He's like, you know, I try to become a cop, you know, do good, and he's like, still it gets messed up with me and things. And it's like, man, okay, so we see some redemption possibly coming off of this character. I mean, he's been a pretty harmless character from the get-go. I just want to say, it seems like he's been pretty harmless from the get-go. And, you know, so they assemble a task and everything like that, and he gives them, you know, the whereabouts of where the girls are going to be. Cut to, now we're at an old train station, actually filmed in Kansas City too, and they're on this, and Swanee and Zumar Roulette, and they are ready to flee, and you know, she and then we see outside awaiting them is like a squad of police and Otis and Deafy, and everything looks like it's like going to be lined up for a crazy shootout, and it happens, but we like miss a lot of it, but I'm getting a little ahead. But anyway, so we get this scene of them, and it's Deafy's like still kind of insulting Otis, even though it seems like they're on the same side. And like, so they're ready to go. Otis has to do his like OCD EPR is what I'm calling it, because it seems like it's like exposure response therapy, the way he's like touching things over and over. Swanee gets back to her seat. She sees like Death, and like again, and I guess you can't see Death twice without him like really coming back and getting you, because like she gets it bad. It feels like, I was like, ooh. So Otis, cut to back to him. He's finally like done enough like OCD EPR to like get himself out of the car, and like when he finally gets in there, there's like shooting still going on, but it feels like rehearsed though. Like, yes, this is a show, but it also feels like it's like rehearsed, like they already had this set up in a weird way. Like it just was so weird how it went down. So Otis finds them, and it's just them, like Deafy and Zumar Roulette and Swanee and Otis, just our main characters of Fargo. Just tons of dead people all around Otis. He's walking over and everything, and he somehow misses all this, and it's just these four characters that are only alive of the show. And it just, so he's like, I got him. He's like, I'm gonna need a little extra hand. That's why I'm like, it feels rehearsed. I'm like, well, what's to come out of this? Well, Otis takes a ginormous turn, like he does like a backwards arc, it felt like I was like, oh, well, what's gonna happen? He immediately shoots Deafy. It was like, well, that's great. Like, you know, we're seeing Otis while all this action's going on, the girls, Swanee and Zumar Roulette, they look like they're actually doing the right thing. Swanee's like, I'm gonna get me some sweets, and she's like, them sweets will be the death of you. And I was like, oh my gosh, I was like, that quote really? Because, you know, that's pretty much a predictable quote. Like, you know, we know what's gonna happen. And so they're all kind of lined up, waiting, looking. We see Timothy Olaf's character. I guess by now he's about ready, signed off of Fargo and ready to go straight onto the Mandalorian to be Boba Fett. So his character's just elsewhere. It feels like it felt like this was like the grand finale in a way of like what's to come. It's like you're gonna have maybe, I'm guessing we're gonna have 9 and 10. I've heard that we might be getting 11th episode. That'd be pretty cool. But yeah, it just kind of felt like here's how everything's going to be tied off. Still no Rabbi or Sacho, so that's going to be interesting when we finally catch up to them and see what all's been going on. More questions answered. I need more answers, like what's going on with this paranormal stuff in this season. Like, you know, we've had it before in other seasons and things, but it's like really hitting hardcore in this season. I was a little messed up on why he shot, you know, Swanee. I was like, no, but it causes, you know, Zumar Roulette really, she gets upset. She sees that like demonic thing behind him. This felt like they even had that music going on like for like this felt like the hotel scene kind of for Fargo season 2, like, you know, like, so, but I gathered that didn't exactly all, it didn't unwind like it did, like we seen. I can't remember if that was episode 9 or 10 when that happened, but we just see a little bit of the demon guy, and like, so Zumar Roulette just like charges at Otis and just like knocks the gun out of his hand. He like shoots and hits something and don't hit nobody, I guess. She escapes, flees, and he's just like left there laying on the ground. And he just kind of like lays there for like a little bit, I guess. Like he's like in shock. He reminded me of Lester from season 1. Kind of like, you know, well, I'll just pretend like I got knocked out like too, like my wife did, you know, when the police come. And I wonder if that was supposed to be intentional like that. But that's what that reminded me of. But yeah, cut to then we see some men standing by like a fire looking like they're warm. Trying to be warm. We see Josto and Gaetano laughing and hanging out. Looks like they've been having a pretty good night. Looks like they're kind of getting along pretty good. I think Josto's still a little skeptical of Gaetano, but Gaetano seems really respectful and honorable. Like, I didn't realize that I would wind up liking him as much as I kind of do, but he seems to have a lot of passion. Like, I gotta say that for him. Like, he might be really rough. I don't like him killing. He didn't kill Dr. Cinder. He told Calamita to do it. Calamita's the one that really did it. But I still don't like how all that went down. But, like, I like Gaetano, actually. He seems like a real person in all this. Because he's just kind of like, you know, I'm proud of my, I'm proud of my big brother, you know? And, you know, it's cool. I'm going to change and be, like, a little, like, dial it back some. But then, remember, Mort Kellerman owes his devotions. We get our Woods shootout, but it wasn't quite, and I'm guessing they're going to amp it up for the next episode, because it was like really quick. It was like dissolve, men in fire, dissolve, men with guns, dissolve. It was like just a bunch of quick dissolves of like the Woods and men, and I'm like, I know what's about to happen. I've seen Fargo. We had a pretty good shootout in season 3 in the last season. Season 2 still been my favorite. I think I've talked about that wood scene in so many of these Greenlight Cinema reviews. It's insane, but I do love a great wood shootout scene. We might have even done something like that in season 1. I think with Lester kind of like running at the end with the thin ice. So yeah, it's like a theme that just always happens in Fargo. And we're at that little, and like they're being shot at, and like Gaetano pulls out his 2 guns. Man, he looks glorious out there on that battlefield. Just like blasting them guys as much as he could. And it don't look like Mort Kellerman's, you know, he's completely untouched. And their mom, that's a tragic part. Like, I was like, oh man. Her mom, I'm not trying to be funny. She looks like Rachel Dratch, like all dressed up. I don't know who's playing her, but she's like, oh, come on, the boys, come in the side. It's a cold, and they're like, nah, we bigger boys, Mom. I'm sorry, I sound like Mario. But yeah, it ends tragically. It ends tragically with, it looks like Josto and Gaetano's sister holding their mom. And, like, she's screaming and crying, and Gaetano's upset, and Josto looks like he's, like, I don't know, like he don't have, like, he just seems kind of like he's taking it in, maybe. But, like, I love the passion out of, like, the actors and the characters of this season. I think they're doing a really good job. I really do. I like this season. I think it's been very compelling and very interesting. We're getting a lot of, stories coming back at us, it feels like, or things being retold in a different light. But yeah, I guess there's 2 more episodes to go, maybe 3, I don't know. I hope you guys are enjoying these episodes as much as me, and I hope you guys are liking these Fargo reviews. But that's my review for Fargo Season 4, Episode 8. I hope you guys like and subscribe if you guys hadn't already. And we are going to finish this season, Lord's willing. I cannot wait to see how all this ends. It looks like the next episode is going to be in black and white. That looked pretty crazy. But alright, guys, this has been awesome. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.